Alright guys, well, I've got a 2011 Mitsubishi RVR. This is a Canadian model RVR. I believe in the US they are called Outlander Sport, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, this is a four-wheel drive version, and we had some issues with the axle boots. They were torn, so this is the passenger side front, and we've had them replaced at a mechanic shop in town where I'm at, and I've come to discover when they completed the job, there's an oil leak now, and there wasn't an oil leak before, and that's leaking from right where the axle goes into the transfer case there. That's the transfer case. They didn't touch the driver's side as far as I'm aware, and there's no oil leak over there. Your passenger side is leaking. You are going to need transfer case oil, not transmission oil. Also, if it's leaking and you're checking your transmission oil, again, your transmission oil is not going to go down because you're actually leaking transfer case oil. But you want to loosen the lug nuts first. That'll make your life a lot easier. And then go ahead, jack the car up. When you're jacking the car up, you definitely want to determine where's the worst place to jack the car up and probably jack it up from that spot. And then you'll learn the hard way why you don't do that. There's a few good places underneath the car to jack it up from. Maybe I don't want to take the camera in and out of that damn tripod 400 times. A lot of good places to jack the car up from. I think I'm gonna probably jack it up somewhere in there on the passenger side and same on the driver's side. And I have some blocks of wood over there. I'm just gonna set it up on some wood because I don't like being under things that are on like some sketchy axle stands and whatnot. I hate axle stands. So we'll go ahead and do that. I don't need to show you the process. If you can't jack the car up, you shouldn't be under it. Then again, I'm also making these videos to try and show people how to do things, and then I immediately proceed to say that if you can't do it, then don't. Okay, I'll show you jacking the car up, I guess. So it may be worth noting that sometimes I don't always follow exactly what I say I'm going to do, and that's because recently TikTok actually diagnosed me with ADHD. So sometimes I don't always, start doing something and, completely just start doing something else as well. It's always, great. Like I started doing that plastic guard underneath there, which I should probably pull that off first, because then that job's done and out of the way. Really. Okay, I'm gonna pull the plastic guard off. And that's, that's pretty much how ADHD works. You start doing one thing and carry on to doing another. Either way, it's got to get pulled off of here, so what's the big deal anyhow? Get out of there. I don't know if you're going to want to listen to the commentary. Maybe I'll edit it out. These videos are all for fun. I'm not trying to be a YouTube star or something, because, frankly, I won't be a YouTube star. Not enough people will be interested in my craziness. Get out of there. Stubborn. Yes. That has been leaking oil. Grand. Now that I've got all my plastic fittings secured in my magnetic tray, pull this Milwaukee ratchet out of there. Try and yard up on the front of this thing. You want to lift with your kidneys. Make sure they're still there. We're going to sneak right in under that control arm. You don't need to see where the control arm is. I'll try that, and then I'm going to yard that plastic ramp out of there. Oh, like a glove. Now, typically you should stagger your blocks and do all the proper cribbing. We're going to not do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's just going to fucking roll back. Cocksucker. Just wanted to get some darn height out of it, So the block is trying to tip back because of the way that it is, I guess. I'm just going to have to do it the right way, I guess. So, like staggering, you would do two blocks like this, two separate blocks, and then your next two, you know, here and here, and then this top one will go on top like that way. You don't need to worry about your blocks tipping over. Now I'm very confident that ain't gonna go anywhere. Oh yeah. If it drops and breaks your arm, then you know you gotta redo it. I'll do the same for the captain's side. Hit. Turn the top of that lip just a skosh so that it possibly catches a little more safety on the way up. Oh no. She doesn't want anything to do with safety here today. This will be the time that I drop the thing off of the friggin' blocks because I'm filming it. So on this side, I've jacked her up on the cross member like I said I was going to. I managed to get enough height out of it. All right. So this looks kind of uneven, the way these blocks are. That's because they are. Oh, sketchy. Get down from there. This is a little bit kind of sketchy, you know, when you try to get the car up as high as I'm getting her up here. I just don't have a car lift, but it's nice to have the extra room to work. There's nothing worse than getting partway through a job and you realize you don't have enough travel underneath of the wheel to do what you need to do. Get my adaptatrice. Why is that coming off there? Get on there. There we go. Now with the round ones removed, let's try and you're not going to be able to see that, but the outer tie rods have got quite a bit of play, so much that it's knocking. You can hear it, probably can't see it. That's fine. Uh-oh. Looks like the lower control arms. Lower control arms have some play as well. And it just dawned on me that I really don't feel 100% safe under there. I should put, I got a big block of dunnage here. When I checked this the first time, I didn't notice that the lower ball joint was also no good. So, it's just the ball joint, but if I remember correctly, last time I did this, the lower control arm has to be bought just to do that ball joint. And even if you could buy the ball joint separately, I don't have a press because that will definitely be pressed in there. So we definitely got movement in the tie rod end there, right here. We're going to be replacing the sway bar link because those are known to fail. And I also just noticed that you're not going to be able to see that, but anyways, the lower ball joint has got like a 1/16 of an inch of play there, which is no good. And in true fashion, always replace everything in pairs. This whole lower control arm assembly has to be replaced just for the ball joint. So I'm gonna have to go get more parts. Front shocks are still in good shape. You know, there's no excessive bouncing or nothing leaking, so we'll let that develop. I'm gonna measure, since I'm doing these tie rod ends, center this bolt from the tie rod end to somewhere back here on the actual tie rod. I'm gonna wrap a piece of tape around the tie rod. You know, from here to here is 6 or 7 or 8 inches, whatever. I mean, could even go back farther, but you know, somewhere in here will do. And that'll kind of get me close with the tie rods and the alignment, and then I'll take it to the shop down the road and have them do a proper alignment on it. But at least I'll be close enough to go down the road. I mean, your friggin' tires won't be out to lunch. The old pigeon toe treatment, so just wanted to mention that. Right. For me, that's a heck of a lot easier to see. And I can, oh yeah, she's right bang on 8" there, so. All right, let's see if this little gaffer will get her off. Yeah. There we go. See if I can get that jam nut off of there first. Holy. Oh yeah. I don't want to be turning that now. We want to keep that right where she's at. Alright, loosen them threaders up a bit. Now that I got it cleaned up and all the rust and corruption off of there, she's a 14 mil. That's going to be probably difficult to get on the bottom one, but I've gone ahead and marked the other side with my green tape and removed the tie rod in exactly the same as this side. Now I'm going to move on to getting the sway bar link out of here. So there's an Allen head you can set in there to try and get it out. I don't think that that's going to do much good, but we're going to find out. Probably going to have to heat it up. I'm going to go ahead and apply side English to the Allen head. They seem to love that. Ratcheting ended Kalunga. Oh no, I thought I messed up. Oh, it's loose. What are the odds? What are the odds of that? That just doesn't happen to a guy that often. Get off of there. Okay, y'all are gonna have to get out of the way for a minute. Yep. Turning the whole thing. Son of a pop. Dang it. Maybe I should put that freaking torch to use. Just torch it out of there. That's a lot more funner. I think we're gonna gas axe her out of there. I don't really feel like pissing around today. Oh yeah. Oh, ouch. Ouch. Oh, yeah. Didn't need that anyhow. Mother of... That is just not going to plan. Whoops. See now, if I wasn't so stunned, I could have taken that off in the first place instead of burning the hell out of it. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. You don't need to worry about almost burning the car down. How hot is that? All of it. Jesus. It was still easier than screwing around getting that thing out of there. So I'll still call it a win. I mean, if you don't do things to engineering specifications, but you still get the job done. Oh my. I was not paying attention to that chunk of plastic. I mean, it blends in so well with the rest of the frame. Like, that's metal, that's plastic. I just completely forgot that that was plastic and pointed the freaking torch right at it. How stunned are you? That was pretty stunned. Oh well, sometimes I'm stunned. That's how you learn. Still got a little bit of corruption left on here. Just probably pretend we didn't see that. See, the thing is, if you're not learning the hard way, are you even learning? We'll probably go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Okay, so as you can see here, definitely gouged a bit of the sway bar there. What I'm planning to do is, if my welder will reach, I'm going to throw a few tacks on there and then just grind it smooth again. Alright, so I went and got my lower control arms. I had to get them from the Mitsubishi dealership because Napa said that they didn't have any yet. The Mitsubishi dealership got them from Napa, so I'm not sure what's going on there. 117, 108, that's the passenger side, and 107, 108 is the driver's side. One other thing I guess I forgot to mention was before you take your wheels off and you're about to loosen your lug nuts, you'll also want to kind of loosen your castle nut for the axle. I forgot to do that, and I just luckily used a impact on it, and she broke free pretty easy. I'm gonna now go ahead and remove the lower control arm, and then that'll get that out of there. And that one was 17 mil, I believe. Okay. One control arm. So here's what we're dealing with. We need to get the axle out of that transfer case. The seal that's in there needs to be replaced. Okay, so apologize if this is terrible audio or something. I don't have my mic on right now. But we got the axle out, and I just got to change out the seal for this new one, which is just this outer rubber. Okay, so I got the new seal in there. It was relatively easy. I pulled the old seal out with this seal puller. You just stick it in behind the seal, pull it out. It actually came out super easy. And then with the new seal, I cleaned everything up. Used the same diameter as the seal. This little, it's actually out of a bearing press set. And it lined up perfectly with the seal. And just lightly tapped it in there with a hammer, and now it's in there nice and flush. I put a bit of grease because it came with some grease from the factory, and I ended up wiping it a little bit, so I topped it up with grease again, and now it's ready for the axle to go back in. Okay, well, I'm gonna do my best to get that axle in there. Probably gonna have to tap it in on the last little bit. I'm gonna grab my nut and put it back on the end there. Make sure the axle's nice and clean before reinstalling. Just really double check to make sure that it's clean. Little circlips on there. It's probably going to be a bitch to get it back in, I suspect. The idea here is to get a hammer and lightly tap it in. And it seems to have gone back in without a hitch. Okay, so that tells me something's buggered, because nothing ever goes that easy for me. I'll have to top that oil up.
At least with the new one, it's got a grease fitting on it, so at least every oil change now I can give her a little spritz. It feels like it comes dry. I don't feel anything in there. I'll give her a little spritz now and work that grease around in there a little bit. Now, where did that grease gun get off to? 1, 2, 3 pumps. Oh yeah. Thank goodness I did that, actually. It moves way better. Like that. We leave those loose for now. And the reason for that is you want to have weight on them before you tighten them right up, I guess. Now we gotta try and fandangle that into there. What you should be doing is putting anti-seize like on the shafts here, just so that those don't get buggered up, and put Loctite on the threads. Okay, that's enough weight on it. How much weight is on there, you reckon? All of it. That's probably tight enough. This thing just hits so hard, it's unreal. I can't believe the amount of power those things have. Okay, so should I do the tie rod first and then the sway bar links? So the new Moog tie rod ends come with a castle nut for the top. Sorry, this other castle nut here. Castle nut for the top and a cotter pin, which is great. But I thought they would have came with a new jam nut here as well. Turns out they don't, which is fine, I guess, but I just would have thought they supplied most of the parts already. They would have just gone and supplied that as well, but I guess not. So, since I measured the old ones with the suspension relaxed, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll just spin that nut on there, and we'll see where we're at with this. And we're right on the line. How the hell did I nail that? Wicked. Was that a 22 mil on this? Yes, it was. Alrighty, that's tight. And she's right in line for the cotter pin. Well, you don't need to worry about it. Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm a fan of Moog. Everything I've done so far has had grease nipples. And instead of those stupid hex screws, she's got a nice 18 mil square box on her. That's tight. We're on the left side now, driver's side. Got the old lower control arm out, new one's in, the bolts are in. We're on number 3. Pretty sure I did grease this already. Okay. Oh no. Ran out of grease. You son of a... But the good news is, that's tight.
Those two are tight. Back there is tight, tight, and tight.
So that means that this job is completed as far as suspension. I do still need to fill up that transfer case, so I'm going to fill the transfer case up first, put the wheels back on, and then, yeah. Oh no, I did take the weight off to put the tie rod on, okay. And I think that'll about wrap it up for now.
Alrighty, so with the transfer case all topped up, I made a bit of a mess. I'm just gonna clean that up, make sure there's no oil around in there. That way I can tell if it's leaking. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the greasy old burnt plastics back on there, and then I'll be able to put the wheels back on. Well, here we are, wrapped up on another one. I went ahead and sprayed the wheel well with some rust proofing for the winter time. We'll see how well it holds up. I didn't spray up and around the axle back in there because obviously I still want to see if that's going to leak any oil. I got it all topped up with oil now, and everything's been cleaned up with brake clean, so take it for a test drive tomorrow and see how she goes. And afterwards I'll be doing the spark plugs and engine air filter. So maybe I'll record doing the spark plugs or something. That's it for this one, guys, and hit the like button and subscribe if you like what you see, and you know, things will get better as we go along here. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna go with the channel yet, but you know, just making YouTube content just for fun here is something to do. Pretty much my life adventures, I guess you could call it maybe a vlog or something, but you know, pretty much working on stuff, working on the yard, cars, bus, that sort of thing. See what I'm up to. Anyways, that does it for this one. We'll catch you on the next time.